Okay guys, just heading down the shops, and I thought I might do a topic on how bosses and employers think in Japan. But before I get into that, I'd like to give a quick update on the stray cat situation, and also give a shout out to Frank and Mark Higgins from Hobart for your support on Buy Me a Cat Food on Buy Me a Coffee. You guys are legends. So have a look at Hichan's ear. It looks like she's a hoggle and it's been cut. And the cat rescue people sort of thought that she already was, but that's been done in a fight. So that ear. And she's just had kittens. There's one here, and it's around, and oh, there it is. It's a kitten, and the kitten's name is Hotaru. Good morning, Kuro. And there's Hichan. Where's your kitten? So we've got the cat people out here, and we've got their cage ready, and we put a bit of food in there, and we'll be taking her to get done and her kitten this week. And Kuro's gone missing for about a week, and she's got herself into a fight, and she's got an injury on her neck, but she seems okay. You just see on the right side of the neck, a cat has taken a bit of a chunk out of her, but she's doing all right. So the mother and daughter, they'll be going to the vet either this afternoon or tomorrow. I'm not sure when the cat people will be coming, and I'll give you an update on that. So back to the topic of how bosses and employers think in Japan. This a lot of foreigners can't accept, and a lot of foreigners actually don't understand, and even if you tell them, they just brush it aside, and they end up in all sorts of work problems here, and they get frustrated, and they get disillusioned, and they end up hating the place. It's just because they can't accept these things. So getting a job in Japan, it's like joining the army. So the army doesn't ask you to join, you ask the army to join, and that's the way employers think, is that you need them, they don't need you, and you have chosen to join their organization, you put your resume in, and it's just like joining the army, and you're going to do what you're told. You start at the bottom. Doesn't matter what experience you have, doesn't matter if you've had 20 or 30 years experience doing the same job, you'll start at the bottom and you'll start on the lowest pay. So if you have a look at the way the French Foreign Legion works, they actually don't like people who've been a soldier before. That works against you when you join the Foreign Legion. They want somebody with a total blank slate, doesn't know anything, he's not going to compromise orders, he's not going to bring any bad habits into the organization. This is the way they think. So I've spoken to quite a few employers before I did this video, and I've had 2 employers here in Japan, and these are facts. If they have to decide on an applicant, applicant A has 20 years experience in 5 different companies. So let's take the example that they're a truck driver, they've had 5 different jobs, they've driven in all different conditions, they've driven up in Hokkaido in the snow, they've driven in hot areas, they've driven in the city, they've driven in country areas, and they've done a lot of highway work. So they've got quite a lot of experience driving a truck. So they've got 20 years total experience, and 5 different companies, and they've got quite a lot of variety in the work. Applicant B puts in their resume, they have the same amount of experience, 20 years, and they've worked for 1 company. And all they've done is drive up and down the highway from Nagano to Tokyo, the same road for 20 years. They haven't had to put up with any bad traffic conditions, any difficult driving conditions. They've just driven on a nice, flat, the best road in Japan. And they've done it for 20 years with the same company. And guess who gets the job in Japan? Now, in Japan, the guy who's pretty much done the same thing for 20 years, doesn't have any other experience driving in cities, small roads, all the difficult conditions, he'll get the job because he's seen as reliable, he's seen as somebody who's can do what he's told and who can stick it out, so to speak. They're not interested in somebody who has a wide variety of experience because they see this in a total different light than what we do in the West. Western employers, Western companies, a Western company would jump on the truck driver with all that variety of experience and would view the guy who's had the one job driving up and down the highway as inexperienced and not suitable for the job. That is not how it works here. So that's how they think about experience. And what you'll notice with foreigners here, because they're used to obviously how it works where they are, they will quite often brag about just how much variety and experience that they've had and whatever, and it totally works against them because they don't understand the mentality of the employers here. And when they do get a position and they think that they're helping the company, they think that they're helping everybody, and they have all these great ideas, it just falls flat. They're not interested. And the double whammy is a lot of people that have experience, they don't necessarily know just how valuable their experience is. So just because they've had certain experiences somewhere else and they see things done a different way, they automatically assume that the way they're doing things is better. And there's a lot of crazy ways that things get done where we're from as well, and they know that. And not every idea that's put to an employer is a good one. And for every 10 ideas that's put to an employer, you're lucky to get half a good one. That's at least my experience anyway in the kitchens. So what generally happens is you have a workforce that's very, it's not very varied. So like if you were to employ an electrician or a plumber or a carpenter to do some work at your place, their knowledge base is very small because they're normally being trained in the Japanese sort of apprentice system. And the apprentice system is basically you just go and get a job with someone who's a carpenter, and they don't have any paperwork to say they're a carpenter. They're just being trained by their dad 60 years ago, and then they've called themselves a carpenter. There's very little uniform sort of base to call yourself a tradesman. Like in Australia, one day a week everybody has to go to school. So if you're a carpenter, you work 4 days a week, and on the 5th day you go to school, and there's standardized testing that everybody has to pass, and you get a certificate to say that you're a carpenter after 4 years. It's not necessarily the case here. They have implemented some things, I've heard, but it's Japan and it's half-assed. So for example, in my experience, I worked in a tourist hotel in Tasmania, and we used to employ chefs on working holidays. So I used to get some Japanese chefs while I was there, and some of them had 5-10 years experience, but they could only do one thing. So they could only make sushi, or they could only do yakitori, and other than that they were completely useless. And that's because the chef that they trained under, they just did it his way, and they've only worked at that place, and they don't have a variety of experience. So as a general rule, from what I've seen, I've worked with builders, I've worked with people demolishing houses, I've seen a lot of the work here in Japan. It's very hit and miss in all trades. You can get a carpenter that's absolutely brilliant, and you can get a carpenter that's not even a first year apprentice quality. That's how varied the skills are in the same profession. And it all comes back to how they're employed. They've gone for a job with some guy's got a small building company, and he just does what he's told, and he only learns what he's been taught. So this is why you have a lot of inflexibility in the workplace, and you have managerial structures that are just not flexible at all and not willing to take on new ideas. And people that have worked in Japan know this, but they don't accept it. This is their problem. If you're coming to Japan and you're in a profession where it's not possible to go out on your own, let's say you're an IT guy, you're never going to have the money to start your own IT company and having to buy all the computers and all the infrastructure needed to start your IT company. So you're basically at the mercy of employers. But if you're a farmer or work in a kitchen or something like that, you do have the opportunity to work for yourself, and that's what I've done. But I've noticed that a lot of people, teachers, the IT guys, computer guys, stuff like this, they're just totally at the mercy of the whole workplace environment in Japan, and most of them just don't make it. So there's a lot of information that doesn't get shared with employees as well. So a lot of staff go to work every single day and they don't know where the company's going or what their dreams and aspirations are or something. They just go in there and just do what they're told and do what they've always done. And this is because also Japanese companies and sort of the business environment, they don't like to tell their employees stuff. I don't know why, it's just how it is. It goes back to sort of the military mentality. They're not going to tell you what their grand strategy is for an operation. You're just told to get up at 2 in the morning and have your bag packed and your rifle clean. It's exactly how it is. So a lot of people go to work and they don't really know a lot about their company or the future of the company. They don't involve them in meetings of any substance, and it's just a totally different way of doing things. And if you've worked in a Western company, it's not how it's done. They try and get their employees more involved because there's a chance that that half an idea out of 10 is going to make them money, and it's going to be a brilliant idea, or it's going to stop them making a mistake. So companies like to get ideas off their employees, and the employees give it to them for free. So it's free advice that they can either take or discard, and this also leads to a little bit of resentment, I think, in the Western workplace. People's ideas do get co-opted, and they don't really get compensated for it as well. So there's that. So anyway, when you're in Japan and you have to work for a company, these are the things you're going to have to put up with, and you have to be mentally tough, and don't try and change the world. It's just a job, and it's a job that you applied for, so there's no point torturing yourself about it. And if you do want to live in Japan long term, I've been saying this since my channel started, you really need to look at working for yourself. So if you're going to go and beat your head against the wall, or you're going to come to Japan with no other skills than having to be a worker, working for somebody else, that's on you. But you just have to know that that's what you're in for, and if that's going to suit your personality or not, because the workplace here in Japan is pretty cold and brutal, and if that's what you signed up for, that's what you signed up for. So anyway, I'm going in, I'm going to have some breakfast, and we're going to get Hichan and her kitten done. And her kitten's name is Hotaru, and that was named by channel member Gator Dude. So that's a cool name, Gator. Thanks for that. And I'll follow their journey into the vet and getting done. I think they'll have to stay overnight, maybe for 2 nights, and we'll bring them back. So anyway, as always, hope you like the video.
Let's go back home.